Well, hello there. Hope you can hear me okay. I've got a different microphone on, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I've got a few more of your questions to answer, and I'll try and get through just a few of them in this little video. I'll try to keep it under 5 minutes if I can. Why were there no tugs? Well, one of the reasons that you don't have tugs is because you don't need them normally. Now, I've worked on tugboats and I've been on ships that have had tugboats in attendance. Now, they normally only come just before you get alongside, and they're only there to assist the ship in getting alongside. The bow thruster will do most of the work up forward, but down aft, you're limited to the amount of thrust that you can produce. So that's why you have a tug down aft. That pushes you in to the quay. And also they're used for pulling you out of the quay. Now, in this particular video that they show you of the, or should I say, the GPS data, they show you the ship going in a big U-turn. Well, that the ship, by the time it had got to do that U-turn, it was probably under full, say full power, but it was probably under enough power to manoeuvre safely. Note the word full power, to manoeuvre safely. Well, the other question people have asked is, was the anchor dropped? Well, yes, the anchor was dropped. It was a port anchor that was dropped sometime after the initial blackout. They dropped the anchor. Now, I know what the seabed's like in Baltimore because we had very similar sea mud in Portsmouth, where I used to live. Portsmouth in the UK, of course. Now, the harbour was full of this black mud, very, very soft and very, very deep. So an anchor probably wouldn't have had enough purchase to slow the ship down. There is a second video that's slightly more straight on to the ship, and it shows that the boat straightens up slightly before impact. Now, I think that the ship ran against one of these mud banks and would have diverted the ship slightly away from the directly hitting that the pontoon where the legs were sat. As you can see from some of the other photographs, they actually missed the central part of the legs for the bridge. It took a glancing blow, as it were. So the ship wasn't in any danger of sinking because it wasn't punctured. It took a glancing blow. It probably put a big dent in it, for sure. And you can see that the side of the small pontoon where the bridge legs sit, there's not much damage. So it didn't hit there. It was only as the bow comes up and out, the bow flares out, going right the way up to the top of the boat there. It was that bit that flared out that actually hit the bridge. Now, there's a few people are saying that they saw explosions. Now, what I saw was electrical supply failing, i.e. the power cables that ran for the lighting for the bridge snapping off and breaking. And that's the sparks and things that you can see. It definitely wasn't an explosion when that happened. And what was the other thing? Oh yes, the black box. So why did the black box have 2 minutes of missing? Well, it comes down to money, doesn't it? Shipping will get the absolute minimum that meets a requirement. Now, I know this because decades ago we asked the boss of our company if we could get life jackets that were more suitable for the lifeboat. Simply being that the ones that they gave us were too chunky, and it was very, very difficult to manoeuvre inside that lifeboat. And they turned around and said no. And I said, but people are going to get injured. These things are too bulky, and that, you know, your neck's jammed. And no, the answer was no. It meets the requirements. These life jackets meet the requirements, but for ship staff, it didn't meet the requirements. It just wasn't right. And of course, we never got, in all the 10 years that I was on that ship, we never got the life jackets that we asked for. Oh, and the other thing is, what the captain wasn't Russian, he was Ukrainian. Now, I'm definitely not saying that this is the case in this case, but I have sailed with Ukrainian officers before. Not all of them, but most of them had bought their tickets. None of them had actually studied for their qualifications. They'd actually put money in the exam paper so that they were guaranteed a pass, so they didn't have to study. One of the cadets that we had from the Ukraine came out to the ship with all sorts of certificates for wearing a breathing apparatus. Now, breathing apparatus is a bit like a rucksack. You've got two straps over your shoulders and you've got a waistband that goes around the middle. When I asked the cadet to demonstrate him putting on this breathing apparatus, bearing in mind he's had all the training, but he put it on upside down. He had the waistband around his head and he had the arm straps going the wrong way. So we had to get rid of him because he'd obviously not actually done the course. He'd actually paid for it because he had no idea what a breathing apparatus was. But the certificates were more than I'd had in my training, and I knew exactly how to operate one. But anyway, so I'm slightly digressing there. But definitely, I do not know whether he had got his ticket or not, whether he'd been like the typical Ukrainian engineer that I sailed with and purchased his tickets. I'm not saying that about him at all, but I'm just saying this is what happens at sea. We do get a rather lot of fake certificates. And of course, once you've got a fake certificate, all you have to do is to apply to the country that you're working in for a certificate of equivalency. And that means you've got the ticket. You've got an equivalency ticket and you're in the job. It does need looking at, really does. But I don't know what happened on that particular ship. That's for certain. So I hope that's answered a few of your questions, and I'll catch you all on the next one.